Most people are taught the same story about money. Go to school, get good grades, find a stable job, work hard for 40 years, save a little, maybe invest a little. Then, if everything goes well, you can finally retire when you are old enough to be tired. But what if that story is not the only path? What if financial freedom is not something you reach at 65, after giving most of your energy to a job you never truly loved? What if money is not just something you earn, spend, and worry about, but something that can buy back your time, your choices, and your life? That is the powerful idea behind Financial Freedom by Grant Sabatier. This book is not just about becoming rich. It is about becoming free. Free from living paycheck to paycheck. Free from saying yes to work you hate because you need the money. Free from the quiet anxiety of knowing one emergency could destroy your finances. Free to design your life around what actually matters to you. Grant Sabatier's story begins in a place many people recognize: broke, stressed, uncertain, and stuck. At 24 years old, he had only $2.60 in his bank account and was living with his parents. 5 years later, he had built over $1 million and reached financial independence. But the real lesson of the book is not, everyone must become a millionaire by 30. The real lesson is this: money is not the goal. Freedom is the goal. Money is simply the tool. Grant Sabatier's wake-up call. Grant did what many people are told to do. He went to a good university. He studied hard. He got a job. He tried to follow the conventional path towards success and security. But instead of feeling successful, he felt trapped. His job was exhausting. His commute was long. His office was small, dark, and draining. By the time he got home, he had barely enough energy to watch TV. Then he would lie awake worrying about the next day, wake up before sunrise, and repeat the same cycle again. And despite all that effort, he was not getting ahead. He was living paycheck to paycheck. He was not saving. He was not building wealth. He was trading most of his waking hours for just enough money to survive. Then he was fired. At 24, he moved back in with his parents with less than $3 to his name. For many people, this would feel like failure. But for Grant, it became the moment everything changed. He realized that the traditional path was not working for him. He did not want to spend the next 40 years waiting for permission to live. He wanted control over his time. He wanted options. He wanted freedom. So he set a bold goal: reach financial independence as quickly as possible. Not someday. Not when life calms down. Not after decades of waiting. Now. The core idea: financial freedom means work becomes optional. At the center of the book is a simple but life-changing idea. Financial freedom is the point where you no longer have to work for money. That does not mean you stop working forever. It means work becomes optional. You can still build, create, serve, learn, start businesses, take jobs, or pursue meaningful projects. But you are no longer forced to trade your life for a paycheck just to survive. That shift changes everything. When you need money, your choices are limited. When your investments can support your lifestyle, your choices expand. You can leave a toxic job. You can spend more time with family. You can travel. You can start a business. You can work part-time. You can rest. You can choose purpose over pressure. This is why Grant says financial freedom is not really about money. It is about time. Money can always be earned again. Time cannot. Every dollar you save and invest is not just a dollar. It is a tiny piece of future freedom. The big problem: we were taught the wrong money rules. One of the strongest messages in the book is that most people have been taught an incomplete, outdated way to think about money. We are told to cut small pleasures, save slowly, and wait patiently for retirement decades later. But Grant argues that this approach is too limited. Yes, saving matters. But you cannot save your way to freedom if your income is too low, your investments are weak, and your lifestyle keeps expanding. Financial freedom requires a more complete strategy. Earn more money. Save a high percentage of what you earn. Invest early and consistently. Avoid lifestyle inflation. Track your net worth. Think about purchases in terms of time, not just price. Build a life around freedom instead of consumption. The traditional path says, work until you are old. Grant's path says, use money intentionally so you can take back your life sooner. That contrast is the heart of the book. The 7 stages of financial freedom. Before you can reach financial freedom, you need to know where you are. Grant breaks the journey into 7 stages. This is one of the most useful frameworks in the book because it turns a huge goal into a clear path. 1. Clarity. This is where you understand your current financial situation. You know how much money you earn, how much you spend, how much debt you have, and where you want to go. Clarity is powerful because you cannot improve what you refuse to look at. Many people avoid their finances because it feels uncomfortable. But avoiding the numbers does not remove the problem. It only removes your control. 2. Self-sufficiency. At this stage, you earn enough to cover your own basic expenses. You may not be saving much yet, but you are no longer fully dependent on others to survive. This is the first step toward independence. 3. Breathing room. This is the stage where you are no longer living paycheck to paycheck. You have some space, some margin, some room to breathe. You are not rich yet, but you are not constantly panicking either, and that mental relief matters. 4. Stability. Stability means you have paid off bad debt and saved around 6 months of living expenses. This stage gives you protection. A job loss, medical bill, car repair, or unexpected expense no longer destroys your entire life. You have a financial cushion. 5. Flexibility. At this stage, you have roughly 2 years of living expenses invested. This is where life starts to feel very different. You have options. You can take more calculated risks. You can change jobs, start a side business, move cities, or take a break without everything collapsing. 6. Financial independence. This is the big milestone. Your investments generate enough income to cover your living expenses. Work becomes optional. You are no longer dependent on a paycheck. 7. Abundant wealth. This is the stage where you have more than enough. Your money can support not only your life, but also bigger dreams, generosity, family, impact, and legacy. The beauty of these stages is that they make progress visible. You do not have to jump from broke to millionaire overnight. You simply move one stage at a time. Find your FI number. To reach financial independence, you need to know your target. Grant calls this your FI number, the amount of money you need invested so you can live off your portfolio. The basic idea is simple. Look at how much money you spend each year. Then calculate how much you would need invested to safely cover those expenses. A common rule is the 4% withdrawal rate. For example, if you spend $50,000 per year and you use a 4% withdrawal rate, your FI number is $50,000, 0.04 TAR equals $1,250,000. That means you would need about $1.25 million invested to support that lifestyle. But here is the important part. Your FI number depends on your lifestyle. If you need more money to live, your FI number is higher. If you can live well on less, your FI number is lower. This is why spending is so powerful. Every dollar you cut from your annual expenses does 2 things. First, it helps you save more today. Second, it reduces how much you need to become financially independent. That is a double win. Track your net worth. Once you know your FI number, the next step is knowing where you currently stand. Grant says your net worth is one of the most important numbers in your financial life. Your net worth is simple. Assets minus liabilities. Assets are things you own that have value. Cash, investments, property, business equity, or valuable possessions. Liabilities are debts, credit cards, student loans, car loans, mortgages, or any money you owe. If your assets are greater than your debts, you have positive net worth. If your debts are greater than your assets, your net worth is negative, and that is okay. Many people start below zero. Grant did not begin from wealth. He began from a financial low point. What matters is not where you start, but whether you start tracking and improving. Tracking net worth gives you a scoreboard. It shows whether your financial decisions are moving you toward freedom or away from it. Without tracking, you can feel like you are doing fine while quietly falling behind. With tracking, you see the truth, and the truth gives you power. Think differently about spending. One of the most memorable ideas in the book is that every purchase has a hidden cost. A cup of coffee may look like it costs $3, but if you invested that $3 instead, It could grow over time. That does not mean you should never buy coffee. Grant is not saying joy is bad. He is saying you should understand what each purchase is really costing you. Because money is not just money. Money is time. If you earn $20 per hour after taxes and work-related costs, then a $100 purchase costs you 5 hours of life. Suddenly, the question changes. It is no longer, can I afford this? It becomes, is this worth 5 hours of my life? That question creates awareness. Many people spend unconsciously. They buy because they are bored, tired, stressed, influenced, or trying to feel better. But when you connect money to time, spending becomes more intentional. You start asking better questions. Will this make my life meaningfully better? Will I still care about this next week? Am I buying this for myself or to impress someone else? Would I rather have this item or more freedom later? This is not about guilt. It is about alignment. Spend on what truly matters. Cut what does not. The 11 questions to ask before buying. Grant offers a powerful way to slow down spending. Ask better questions before you buy. You do not need to ask these before every small purchase, but they are especially useful for bigger or recurring expenses. Before buying, ask, how much happiness will this purchase actually bring me? Will I still value it tomorrow, next week, or next month? How much money do I need to earn before taxes to afford it? How many hours of my life am I trading for this? Can I truly afford it based on my net worth? Am I comparing prices by percentage, not just dollars? Can I get it used, cheaper, borrowed, or traded? Am I paying extra just for convenience? What will this cost me every year if it becomes recurring? What is the cost per use? What could this money become if I invested it instead? These questions turn spending from an impulse into a choice, and that is where freedom begins. Not by never spending, but by spending with your eyes open. The real hourly rate. What are you actually earning? Most people think their hourly rate is simple. If they make $25 per hour, they believe they earn $25 per hour. But Grant encourages us to calculate our real hourly rate. This means subtracting the hidden costs of work and including the hidden time around work. For example, commuting time, work clothes, gas or transportation meals bought because of work, time spent recovering from work stress-related expenses, preparation time. Once you include all that, your real hourly rate may be much lower than you think. This matters because it helps you understand what purchases truly cost. If your real hourly rate is $15 and you buy a $150 item, that is not just $150. That is 10 hours of your life. This way of thinking can be uncomfortable at first, but it is also freeing, because once you understand the trade-off, you stop giving your life away so easily. You do not have to wait until debt is gone to invest. A common belief in personal finance is that you must pay off all debt before investing. Grant challenges that. His view is more flexible. Depending on your interest rates and situation, it can make sense to invest while also paying down debt. For example, if you have extremely high-interest credit card debt, that should usually be attacked aggressively. But if you have lower interest debt, waiting years to invest could cost you valuable compounding time. The key is not to follow a rigid rule blindly. The key is to understand the numbers. Money decisions should be based on math, risk, and your personal situation, not fear. Investing early matters because time is one of the greatest forces in wealth building. The earlier your money starts compounding, the harder it can work for you. The emotional side of investing. Grant also warns about one of the biggest dangers in investing: panic. When people see investments drop, they often get scared and sell at the worst possible time. Grant experienced this himself. When he first started investing, he bought stocks and quickly lost money. He panicked and sold. Later, he realized that if he had simply stayed invested, his money could have grown significantly. That lesson is huge. Investing requires patience. It requires emotional control. It requires understanding that markets rise and fall. Short-term volatility is normal. Long-term compounding is the goal. If you want your money to grow, you need to stay in the game. Trying to perfectly time every move usually creates more stress than success. The practical path to financial freedom. So how do you actually use this book? Start with clarity. Look at your last 12 months of spending. Find your average monthly expenses. Multiply by 12. That gives you your annual spending. Then calculate your FI number. Next, calculate your net worth. Add up your assets. Subtract your debts. This gives you your starting point. After that, focus on the 3 biggest levers. 1. Increase your income. Saving matters, but income gives you fuel. Look for ways to earn more through raises, side hustles, freelancing, business, skills, or career moves. The faster you grow your income without growing your lifestyle, the faster you move toward freedom. 2. Increase your savings rate. Your savings rate is the percentage of income you keep and invest. This number is extremely important. If you save 5% of your income, freedom is far away. If you save 30%, 40%, or 50%, the timeline changes dramatically. This does not mean you must live miserably. It means you design a lifestyle where the gap between income and expenses gets bigger. That gap is your freedom engine. 3. Invest the difference. Saving money is important, but investing is what allows money to grow. Cash alone usually cannot beat inflation over long periods. Investments give your money the chance to compound. The goal is to make money while you sleep. At first, the growth feels slow, but over time, compounding becomes powerful. Your money starts earning money. Then that money earns more money. That is how financial independence becomes possible. Final takeaway. Every dollar is a piece of your future life. Financial freedom is not just a book about getting rich. It is a book about waking up. Waking up to the fact that the default path may not be the best path. Waking up to the real cost of your purchases. Waking up to the power of your income, savings rate, and investments. Waking up to the truth that your time is your most valuable asset. Grant Sabatier's message is not that everyone needs to retire at 30 or chase $1 million. His message is that you have more control than you think. You can define freedom for yourself. You can calculate your number. You can track your progress. You can spend more intentionally. You can earn more. You can invest earlier. You can stop waiting for the future and start building it now. The question is not, can I become financially free overnight? The better question is, what is one decision I can make today that buys back more of my life tomorrow? So after watching this summary, do one thing. Calculate your net worth. Find your FI number. Cancel one expense that does not matter. Invest a small amount. Ask yourself what your time is really worth. Because financial freedom is not built in one dramatic moment, it is built through small intentional choices repeated again and again. And one day, those choices become something bigger than money. They become freedom.